Hello. I don't know if there's anybody out there. I'm Miriam, I'm a family therapist. This is my first live on Instagram. So I've got some questions from parents who either follow my Instagram account or my clients or people who know me from my YouTube channel, Enjoy Your Children. And I've asked them to send me questions about their family life, about their children, anything that worries them. And I'll try my best to be helpful. We're going to go for about 30 minutes, maybe 40 minutes. I've got a screen here, and I'm going to read the first question that was sent to me, and then I'm going to answer it. So the first person to ask is saying that she says, my 10-year-old daughter has become incredibly angry and controlling in her behavior over the last few weeks because the lockdown's been going for so long. What can we do to calm her down? How can we talk to her about her feelings? It's very hard when we're trying to work at the same time to give her the extra attention that she needs. So this is a really good question, and so many people are struggling with this. Especially children who are very sociable and love their friends and love going out, they feel, and they are locked in. There isn't that much they can do outside. Their life has changed, not easy, and you're trying to work at the same time. So the first thing you could do for her, in my view, is give her a lot of empathy. Now, we parents, a lot of the times, we try to explain and rationalize, and we would say things like, look, people are dying, there's a virus, it's dangerous, and we give them information and we rationalize with them, but that's information that they already know. I mean, of course, go ahead and explain and rationalize when your child doesn't know something, but when they know exactly what is going on and why, then there's no point in telling them again. It's much wiser to just be empathetic and say, oh yeah, that is really, really tough. It's really hard for you. And you can say, I wish I could just zap something and get all this corona to disappear from the face of the earth. Wouldn't it be good? So you want to give a lot of empathy and understanding and tell her, yeah, of course you want it this way, of course. You're going to be able to give this empathy more when you think, why is your child controlling? And people are usually controlling because they are not feeling very safe. They're not feeling very secure. And I don't know your child, you know your child. You will know whether it's a coronavirus, whether it's something else. It's something about the coronavirus. Lots of kids are not at all worried about the virus itself, but they're worried about having lost their way of life, having lost their friendships, their interests, their school. So you can ask, but you want to have the assumption that if my child is controlling, is not doing it because she wants to spoil my day or she just has a really bad character or temperament, it's because in her world, her needs are not being met properly. She doesn't feel safe enough. She doesn't feel secure enough. Something's going on for her. So lots of empathy and less explanations. That's one thing that I would say. Another thing about talking to children, a lot of the times we ask them questions and they feel that we are intruding. So we'd ask, what's bothering you? Tell me what's wrong. And sometimes they don't even know how to explain it to themselves. And at other times, they know what it is, but they don't really like saying it to us because then we're going to explain how wrong they are and that they shouldn't be feeling that. So a good way to encourage children to open up and talk to you is, first of all, do that when you're doing something else. So when you are walking outside or you're doing an activity together, no straight eye contact because that's a bit scary and can be perceived as a little bit too direct and too intrusive. And then you can say something like, make a statement rather than a question. And you can say, I can see it's not easy for you. So you're giving some empathy. And you can say, if you want to tell me what's bothering you, I will do my best to help. And you can say, I know there's a lot that's out of our control and there's nothing much we can do about it, and it's really upsetting. But if there's anything I can do to help, let's discuss it. So the message you want to give is, we are a team and we're in it together, and I'd like to understand you and I'd like to help. Last point that you've made about working from home, and I presume from this that you are with your partner, your husband, her dad, and you're both trying to work from home. You can sit with her and say, look, this is what we need to do. We need to work, you need to do some schoolwork, and we also really want to have a good time with you. So how can we organize our days so that it works best? If you are one of these people who functions really well in the morning, maybe you can get up a little bit earlier, do a little bit of work if your work allows that. Then have breakfast with her, have something with her, maybe like a little physical, something that's a bit physically active, and then you decide that she does something on her own, she does a schoolwork, and you take turns. So you want to maybe create a little calendar with her and give it a week, present it as a week experiment, rather than this is how it's going to go and this is what we're going to do. Just try it out for a week and tell her, this is our family structure. We are all doing it together so that we all feel better. And that's much more chance that this is going to work if this is how you approach it. So we are a team together. We'd like you to feel safe and secure. We love you. We know it's a difficult time. Let's think what would work for all of us. Okay, so this is this question. I hope it's been helpful. And I'm going to read the next one. And that's about a mother who says that she's concerned about possible long-term psychological damage to my children that are now getting the message that touching their grandparents and other family members is dangerous and bad. And how can I minimize this danger? So, in truth, this is a new experiment that nobody's had before. Nobody really knows whether they're going to be long-term effects or whether they're not going to be any. And I think a lot of it is depending on the age of the child. Even very little ones, I know about 2.5, 3-year-olds, you can just explain and say, it's a virus, it's going to go away, it's going to go away. You can't hug Granny and Granddad now, you need to hug only me. So we give them as much as we can. We give them the physical touch that we need, and we keep on saying that it's going to go away, and then we can hug everybody and everything is going to be all right. Now, we really don't know how this is going to go here, but I know, I come from Israel, and I know from some of my Israeli friends and relatives who started the lockdown earlier, and it was much stricter, and they have now completely opened everything up, that there are going to be some children who are going to be very reluctant then to get near other adults. So think of a child who's been just with his parents for a long time, and suddenly everything is open up and there are 10 people there, all family members, all missing him, and everybody wants to give him a hug. And that could be really, really scary. So when the lockdown is over or it's eased, we want to be very, very, very gradual and let this child find you at their own pace, rather than say, oh, I can't really miss him so much, and you go into their space. I think with lots of explanation, and children that are not even verbal and cannot understand it, even then you can explain in very simple words. And if your body language and tone of voice is of a relaxed person, then you're going to be all right. If you freak out every time your child gets near anybody in the street and you shout at them, which I've seen, come over here, don't touch her, then you're scaring them for no good reason, and that could be a problem. But try to avoid that, be relaxed about it, yet vigilant. Not easy, but hopefully it's going to be all right. This is my hope. Okay, thank you. And I'm going to look at the next question now. Just bear with me. Okay, and these are two questions from the same mom. So I'll answer them one after the other. So the first one is asking, how do you deal with a 3.5-year-old constantly wanting to squeeze her newborn brother and smother him? I'm finding I'm constantly telling her to be gentle, and sometimes she ends up really squeezing him. Okay, so that's again a common problem, and I think in our attempt to be very positive and to try and be the most positive that we can, we use this positive language that says be gentle rather than don't poke his eyes, don't smother him. Yeah, and we want to be very positive, which is great, but at the same time it's a bit too general. So in her eyes she may be really gentle. What you want to do is help her understand what's okay and what's not okay. And one of the ways to do it is just take a doll, or a teddy bear, or like a soft toy, and actually practice with her what's okay and what's not okay. And whenever she does something really nice, like a stroke, you praise her and you say, oh, you're so gentle. This is just the way that I'd like you to be with your little brother. And if she ask her to show what's not okay, what is okay, and be enthusiastic with her, make it fun. So that's just one thing. Now, there could be that she's doing it out of kind of deeper psychological issues. Maybe she feels a bit displaced. She doesn't know whether she likes this new arrival to the family. That could be all these kind of possible deeper psychological issues. And there's a lot we can do about that, and I think I've got some videos about it on the YouTube channel, just about brothers and sisters and how to deal with it. But you want to give her permission to not like her little brother, to be bored by her brother, to be resentful that he's near you all the time and she isn't that near you. Make it okay for her. But about the kind of smothering and not being gentle, I think just a simple lesson could help. And the second question is, my parents live in an annex attached to our house, and at the moment we're getting our kitchen done. Therefore, we're popping into the annex for lunch and dinner. My 3.5-year-old ends up staying there with the grandparents after lunch, but without offending my parents, I'd like her to come back to our part of the house with me. She obviously had a good relationship with my parents, but I feel it's important she doesn't make it a habit every day to spend the rest of the day there, as I would like her to be with me and her new brother. Do you think it's too controlling of me? Is there a way I can tell her that it is okay to spend some days there, but not to make it a habit? Yeah, definitely. I don't think you're necessarily a control freak. I don't know you, but I doubt you are. I mean, even that you're asking this question, probably you're not. But what do you want to think is, how do you balance everybody's needs? And how do you approach your parents first? I think that's what you need to do. You need to, first of all, talk to your parents and come up with an agreement or an idea of how do you want things to be, and then you present it to your daughter. So you may be surprised, your parents may appreciate a few afternoons to themselves, or maybe not. So what you want to say to them maybe is that what you said to me, that you're so happy that they've got this great relationship with her, that you really love that she can go there and they can take care of her and she's happy there and this is wonderful, but maybe the balance isn't quite right for you and you'd like for her to spend some afternoons with you. What do they think? So ask them, what do you think? And you can have a discussion about it and then think what would work for you. So different families come up with different strategies. Some people like order and routines, and they would say these are the days that you spend here and these are the days you spend there, like Monday and Wednesday and whatever. And other people really do not like that, and that's okay too. So you want to think with your parents about something that would suit you. And then you tell your daughter that on these dates she needs to come with you, and if she doesn't like it, you again give her lots of empathy. You say, yeah, I know you want to be with your grandparents, I know, but we decided that this is what's best for our family, and I love you to be with me, and we're going to do something fun, and we're going to enjoy this time together. And just present it to her with lots of empathy. Be prepared for her not to like it. She's not necessarily going to like it, but if you and your parents are united and gentle, I think that's going to be all right. And I think what you're saying is reasonable. You're not saying you don't want her to go there at all. You want a different balance. And there's nothing wrong with that. So good luck with it. Great, thank you. So, let me see what's next. All right, so the next is about a much older girl. She's 17. And mother's asking, dad is asking, what do I do when your ex is strict and wouldn't let you see your daughter? She lives with her mother and grandmother who has a health condition, so I can understand their wish to shield. But at the same time, I miss my daughter. She's 17 and wants to see me, and we can meet outdoors. But so far, her mother refused. We chat on WhatsApp, but I haven't seen her in person for 2 months now. She also says she wants to move in to live with me, and I'm happy with that, but her mom disagrees, of course. Until now, we had a good relationship. Am I being unreasonable, and what can I do? Well, that's such a tough one. It is such a tough situation because there's nobody who's wrong here and nobody who's right. And everybody loves this girl and want to have her, and the concerns are understandable. But in my view, at this time, and in the government view and the scientific view, it is safe to meet outdoors. So I would say that needs to be your first step, to try and arrange that and see what you could do to put mom's mind at rest. So it may be that you're going to sit 3 meters apart, you may need to put on a mask, whatever. I know it's not nice and it may not sound reasonable to you, but at least you're going to see your daughter this way. So I would insist that you meet and see how you can do that safely. That's the first thing. The second thing is that I would caution you, I'm not saying you shouldn't do it, but not to rush to this idea of, okay, then my daughter's going to live with me and everything's going to be okay. Because I completely understand how you'd feel that after not having seen her for so long. It's completely understandable. But at the same time, it's very easy to say, okay, just come over and it's going to be all right. And I don't know your situation, but are there other people living with you? Do you have a partner now? Do you have other children? Is there room for her? What do other people think about her coming to you? Are they as happy as you are to have her in? And what are going to be the parameters of her coming over? Again, I don't know her. She may be thinking, oh, I'll go to my dad. He's not very strict. He's going to let me do this, and the other. Or she may be thinking all kinds of things. I don't know what it is. So my kind of word of caution to you is just plan it in advance and think about all aspects of what's going on. And again, maybe you want to have an experiment of 2 weeks. And then you can also think of what she needs to do if she wants to come back. So just saying, okay, come over and having row with her mom isn't going to be helpful, but saying something like, okay, we've made a plan for her to be here and stay here for 2 weeks, so she's not going to risk you. And before she comes back, she's going to be isolated in this way or the other, and she's going to come back to you, or something like that. You want to think about it together and be creative. And this is such a tough time. And I have all the sympathy to you. I hope it's going to work out. Okay, thank you. Right, next one. Next one. My 7-year-old started waking up in the middle of the night with bad dreams, and now he's scared to go to sleep. His younger brother is all right, but I'm worried that if I let him cry, he will wake him up. And what can I do? And he seems okay during the day. Okay, so I'm going to talk about it in 2 levels. The end one is going to be a practical idea that you can actually help with. But the first level is the kind of psychological level, and a lot of the times what bothers us at night is all the worries that were there in the morning, they were there during the day, but it was easy not to pay much attention to them because there was lots of other stuff going on. There was maybe there were other people there, we were engaged doing something else, and it's easy to just push them out. And my 7-year-old could be really happy and playing and everything, but then when darkness comes and these niggling worries weren't addressed, it's very possible that they're just going to interrupt and interfere with sleep. We need to dream for our mental health. If you want to make sure somebody loses their mind, starts hallucinating, all you need to do is stop their dream sleep for a few nights and you've got it. So it's really important that we sleep and that we dream. And the dreams, one of their roles is to quieten and kind of heal the disappointments, the unfulfilled expectations, all the little things that went wrong during the day, and the big things. So what you want to do is, first of all, reduce exposure to news and just unhelpful stuff during the day. Discuss what's going on in the universe, what's going on with the virus. Don't assume that your child understands it. I talk to children a lot, and a lot of the times they've got all kinds of ideas. I don't know where they got them from. They misinterpreted something that they've heard. So you want to make sure that you can reassure them as much as you can. The situation is indeed scary. Again, I don't know what the situation is in your family. Maybe he's got a specific worry about a grandparent. Maybe he even knows somebody who is hospitalized or sadly died. So all these things needs to be talked about during the day. That's the first thing that says, less exposure to media. Talk about things. Even if your child seems happy, from time to time you can raise something in a non-committed way. Don't sit in front of them and say, okay, we're going to talk now about the coronavirus. But say, just mention something that you've heard, something that they may have heard. Ask them what they know, what they think, and see what's troubling them. And then again, going to sleep routines. It's okay for you to go and stay with your child for a while to reassure him. But I also want to tell you about a technique. I'm going to link to it on my Facebook page. There's somebody who created a lovely video about it, and it's called the Dream Completion Technique. And the idea is, like I've said, dreams are there to help you process whatever's happened during the day. And when you've got really bad dreams and nightmares, this attempt has been unsuccessful. So instead of you replaying in your dream whatever's happened and bringing it to a happy conclusion and then continuing to sleep and forgetting all about this dream, what's actually happening is that you have such a scary dream that you wake up in the middle of it and you are scared and the dream hasn't been resolved in your brain. So there is this technique, and when your child remembers a dream, or you can use it, by the way, it's not necessarily for children, it's for anyone, it's for adults as well. When you remember a dream that bothers you, a type of dream that bothers you, suppose, I'm just making it up now, people are chasing after you and you're scared. You want to make up a positive ending, a fun and positive ending. So it could be that the moment people are chasing you, you want to imagine that you are now flying in the air and you've got this magic wand and you zap them, or something like that. So once you created this ending with your child in their imagination, he can draw it, or he can just imagine it before he goes to sleep. Imagine it happening, so imagining the dream that he's out there and somebody's chasing after him, and then he takes off in the sky, zap, and everything is okay and he's happy. If you do it a lot and you practice it again and again and again and again before the child's going to sleep with him, practice it with him, the chances are that when he goes to dream, that's what's going to happen. He's going to have this strategy for him, and it's going to happen in his dream, and that's going to be the end of it. You have no idea how many children I helped this way, and adults. And a lot of the times what happens, they tell me about a dream, or that's very disturbing. We do this, I give them this exercise, we practice it here in the session, I get them to close their eyes and imagine it. And then next time I ask them, what about the dream? Then they even forget that they've ever had them. So it is the techniques that can really help. Okay, give me the thumbs up if you liked it. Thank you. All right, last one. That's a very, I had to think about it a little bit. And it's just a general question. If we could take or teach one thing out of this situation of this pandemic, what would it be? Wow, what a question. I think it's a personal response that each person will, each person will have a different answer to that one. But for me, it's nature, and discovering nature at my doorstep, all kinds of lovely gardens and a lovely park, and just being much more in my local area and appreciating what I'm seeing. I've also started, inspired by a friend, taking lots of photographs of flowers. This is, again, something that I recommend sometimes to do with children. It's my friend Mika Hadar, she calls it a flower day, and you can use it, you can send them to your friends, use WhatsApp or whatever you want to use. And I've started taking lots of photographs of flowers, and when you start doing that, you can see beauty. So for me, the one thing is beauty in nature, and I hope this quietness that we have now is something that we could keep. So thank you. I'm going to have a look here and see if anybody wrote anything to me. I hope I will be able to see it, but I am not sure I know what I'm doing. So yeah, I'm not sure. Okay, so whoever there, thank you very much for being here. In my very first live Instagram. Hope you found something useful here, and hope to see you. Do subscribe if you're not. Follow me and subscribe to my YouTube channel that's called Enjoy Your Children. Thank you very much. Take care.